My mother has gone delusional with me being pregnant with her first grandchild, and she is taking claim of my pregnancy and trying to dictate everything about my unborn baby's life to her liking. So my mother has always been toxic, and for years we had no contact. However, I'm expecting my first child, her first grandchild. So here's some of her recent behavior which bothers the crap out of me and my husband. She keeps referring to our baby as her baby, has made multiple comments about how the baby is going to come out looking just like her, and says the baby has her nose, etc. She made a remark about how now that she's vaccinated, no one is going to keep her from her baby. She wasn't planning on getting it, but I mentioned how we weren't going to allow people to hold the baby without it, so she got it for her baby. She talks to strangers about how she's going to become a grandma and shows them the ultrasound pictures and pictures of me. She got a car so she can come by whenever, has shown up unannounced once, and even went as far as coming into my house because our back door was unlocked. I told her that was not okay, and she acted hurt but said she would call next time. I don't put much faith in that, and I'm worried about her doing it after the baby comes. She tried throwing me a baby shower in secret after I turned the offer down from my mother-in-law because I didn't want one. I told my mother all the reasons I didn't want one, the main one being COVID. We have been isolating, so obviously I don't want a party. She still tried to throw one behind my back, small at first, then it turned into her renting a hall and having a guest list full of people I didn't know. At that point, my husband shut the whole thing down. But she then called me to complain about how she was being deprived of the baby shower and that it was her grandkid. We're not finding out the gender of the baby because we will be happy either way. She makes it a point to try to hype up having a girl and how she wants a girl so she can get mani pedis, and she will be upset if it's not a girl. She has mocked our name pick for a boy and is upset that if it's a girl, it won't be named after her. Mind you, she's always hated her name but suddenly loves it. Every time I say we don't plan on doing this or that, she dismisses it by saying that those are our rules and grandma's house is grandma's rules. She says we can't stop her from buying everything for her baby and how much she's going to spoil her baby. No matter how much I address these things and tell her we have no intention of allowing the baby to spend time away from us, she keeps ignoring it and making her own plans for the baby. I'm afraid she's going to ruin my coming home with the baby with drama once we enforce everything we've been telling her. She expects to be the first one to meet the baby, and we've already told her no one's allowed at the hospital, but she's already said that by the time the baby comes, things will be different. What do I do? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Cut her off again. It's better this way. You don't know her access to your child, and if she was too toxic for you, she's too toxic for your child. Commenter 2. I can see why you went no contact in the first place. Why did you let her back in? Just because you're pregnant? You wouldn't be denying your child an opportunity for a relationship by being no contact with a toxic parent you don't want in your life. If anything, you're doing them a favor. Op adds an edit to her post. A lot of you are under the impression that no contact was broken because I'm pregnant, my fault for wording. I just want to clear up that is not the case. No contact was broken for well over a year prior to that because she had been going to therapy for a long time and showed consistency with her medication, as well as keeping a job, big deal, and putting in work taking responsibility for past actions she used to otherwise deny or get defensive over. In short, she was finally being an accountable adult. For that time, we had a good relationship where I was able to set boundaries I felt comfortable with, and she respected them. The coming of the baby just seems to have brought back toxic behavior, and it started very slowly. Note, we do have a Ring camera. No, my mother does not have a key to our house, I would never allow that, and we normally keep doors locked. My husband and I have read all your comments. Thank you all for the advice and support. We have made a list of behavior that needs to cease, and rules to follow once baby does arrive. Thank you to the Redditor who crafted a list for us already. It was spot on, and plan on having a serious talk with her today as a last effort. I will make her aware that there is no room for error, and if she continues, I won't hesitate to establish no contact again. Op adds a second edit to her post. Bailp. The conversation was horrid. I had barely gotten to the first behavior issue, calling the baby her baby, when she had already completely shut down and was no longer listening, but wallowing in her own misery. By the time I told her we don't plan on having visitors at the hospital, and probably not at home either for at least a week, she completely blew up. So she's on timeout and possibly will be going no contact again, seeing as I'm still getting venomous, melodramatic messages from her trying to manipulate me into feeling like I'm pushing her out of my life by setting boundaries. So yeah. I was supposed to have my brother this weekend, but I'm pretty sure I won't be seeing him for a while. Update 1 month later. My mother came over today. She's been pestering me about using my pool, complaining about the heat and how she doesn't want to go to the beach because she prefers pools. Since when? My husband was in the process of building a deck for our above-ground pool so I can access it safely since I'm very pregnant, and I explained the pool wasn't open till he finished because I wasn't going to rush his work and the wood can't get wet before sealing it. She made various passive-aggressive comments, saying how at this rate she would never get to use my pool. I pointed out the pool wasn't hers, and that if it takes him all summer, man works overtime daily and always picks up shifts on weekends, that's our problem, not hers. She can go to the Y. In any case, he semi-finished it today, and it was hot out, so we decided to go in. My sister wanted to drop off some stuff she had bought for the baby, and my mom drove her. Of course, she insisted on going in the pool despite the fact that it was later in the day and not so hot anymore, and we were all getting out, but she just had to go in, so we let her while we all went to dry off. Y'all, she lasted 2 minutes and came out complaining the water was too cold. Like, yeah, I warned you, water doesn't warm up till the end of July, especially because we haven't had consistent weather. Anyways, she's got a sour face on because things didn't work out like she'd fantasized in her head. Now I expect them to leave, but no. She keeps complaining she's hungry, and after a while, I was hungry too. Now, the meal I had planned only feeds the household. It's not enough to feed all of us, so I decide to order pizza since we have a coupon about to expire. I was very clear we would order a pizza for my husband and me, one for the kids, and my sister and mom could split one. They both look at the menu and try to order burgers and sandwiches with sides. Like, no biatch, I said I would buy one pizza for the two of you, so pick a topping for your half of the pizza. My sis is like, yeah, no problem, I want buffalo chicken, and my mom has a sour face and is in a whatever mood cause she's not getting what she wanted and says that sis can order whatever. Sis verifies mom is okay with buffalo chicken. I repeat, there's no problem doing half and half, so she can definitely order a different kind, but she's being pissy, so she just says she doesn't care and to order that. Y'all. Pizzas arrive, and we haven't even opened them yet when she very aggressively says, why do I smell spicy? Like, lady, you ordered a buffalo pizza. She's like, what? Is it spicy? At this point, I'm done with her BS, so I grab my pizza while she grabs a slice of hers with the most disgusted expression on her face, all while questioning my sis as to why she would order that and since when does she eat spicy food. I told her to try it and shut it because she could have ordered herself a different topping but didn't. She takes a bite and almost gags. She's making a show of not eating while asking my brother to get her water. I tell her where she can get it herself, and we all ignore her antics. She eats the pizza. She says she's still hungry, but the sauce is too much for her, so I tell her to grab one of my slices, and I'll grab one of hers. Tell me why this woman proceeded to complain that my pizza wasn't as good as the buffalo chicken and then ate a second slice of the too spicy pizza? I'm telling you, I can't make this crap up. My mother is a piece of work. After eating, I excused myself and went to my room. They left shortly after, thank goodness. At least now she'll stop hounding me about the pool, and I can enjoy some peace. But seriously, she's like a full-sized toddler. Second update 1 year later. My mother gave away rent money to look good and now is asking me to pay her rent. Title says it all. Y'all, I can't make this crap up. I woke up to a text from my mother saying that she made a terrible mistake and is desperate for my help. Let me preface this by giving a bit of context. For the last few months, my mother has been kept at bay, mostly because we've determined that she's off her meds and back to being her old toxic self. Last week, she called me distraught because a friend's daughter passed away. She was my age, and it makes her want to hug me close, blah blah. Making this person's loss all about herself. She called me after the funeral, saying how she didn't even go to work after because it was so much harder than she expected, and she just couldn't manage it. This friend? Is not a friend, it's an acquaintance. They run in the same circles because they're the same ethnicity, so they turn up at events and have casual conversation. I have never met them. They aren't related to us, which is saying a lot because in our community we're all related somehow. It's not a friend or close friend by any means. Y'all, she gave her rent money to help with the funeral. She lives paycheck to paycheck and is constantly borrowing money. She still owes my underage brother money he got for his birthday last year, and owes me money that I've written off before even giving to her. Oh, and we gifted her rent money for her birthday so she could get ahead, only for her to borrow money a week later because she was short. So yeah, I don't even know how to respond. Obviously, we're not letting her borrow it. We don't even have it. Just posting here to vent and amuse y'all, I guess. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Is your brother safe with your mom? Ops response. Yes, CPS made a home visit and so far things are okay. He's been in touch with my sister daily, and he'll be going to camp soon. He may be spending the rest of the summer with us after that. We're just trying to navigate the situation carefully, since we've cut contact with my mother, and that's a tricky situation. Commenter 2. If you ever consider helping her with rent or utilities, pay the money to the landlord or the energy company. Ops response. I used to pay the electric bill automatically for years while my siblings were young. I stopped once my sister came to live with me. She's not getting any cash from me anymore. Commenter 3. You don't have to help her out, but maybe she did do something nice for somebody. Ops response. If she actually did, it stops being nice when you do it for the attention, and jeopardize your child's living situation in the process. It's not like the friend was struggling to pay either. It's a big community, everyone helps out. And if she wanted to help, she didn't need to give away her rent money. Giving a bit would have made her short, and that would be a different situation. Commenter 4. My mom was the same way. We got evicted from so many places growing up because she didn't pay the rent. Always short, but had money for cigarettes and booze. I could go on and on. But ultimately, the joke's on her, because she FAFO'd herself into assisted living, and now I don't allow her access to any money whatsoever. Ops response. Unfortunately, that's my mom also. We lost a house that should have been paid for, thanks to settlement money, and we should have had enough money left over to pay bills for at least a decade. But she refused the payment plans and blew all the money in 3 short years. On what? Frivolous expending. $1,000 trips to the mall, buying furniture, takeout, and on. Then she accused the bank of stealing her money when the account was drained. Third update 1 day later. Read my previous post for context if you're not caught up. All hell broke loose after my last post. She basically tried to negotiate with me, but I made it clear that I don't have that kind of money just laying around, and then she became angry and proceeded with her usual "I know I don't matter to you, if it was your friend asking blah blah," and tried to guilt me into it. So I stopped responding. Later that night, I got a call from a relative who lives outside the country saying they were concerned about my mother. She had written a nonspecific suicide note, at work, and sent pictures of it without context. By nonspecific, I mean she hints toward it but never says anything concrete so she can later deny it. This is her pattern. It's a tactic she's used since I was a kid to get pity or put enough guilt and make others feel responsible for a possible outcome so they feel forced to help. Before any of you come at me saying that I don't know she wasn't serious, yes I do. I've seen her take pills when I was a kid, pretend to be drifting away, had me distraught because I was a child. Only for her to be perfectly fine when my father called her bluff and cops showed up. She never actually harms herself in any way, just puts on a show. But the second authorities get involved, she's the perfect mother, completely calm and normal. Then she pretends it never happened and makes you feel stupid for thinking she would ever do such a thing. She's just sad, isn't she allowed to express her feelings without everyone jumping to the worst conclusion? When I tell you she's done this my whole life, I'm not exaggerating. She even pretended to have cancer twice. Again without saying it outright, to manipulate me into paying bills and just overall make me feel like crap. So yeah, she was back at her drama. And she must have put on quite a show at work because the cops were called, and she was taken into psychiatric hold. Where she lied, said she never had any intention of hurting herself, and she needed to go home to take care of my brother because there was no one available. Lied about my brother's father not being involved, he's very much present. Lied about me living out of state. Lied about not having relatives in the area. Mind you, she had already contacted my sister to take care of my brother. CPS was called. Thankfully, I had already taken my brother by then. But it was awful. It reminded me of all the trauma and abuse she put me through. I had to book an emergency therapy session because I was so upset. How could she do this to my brother? It made my husband and me realize it's not worth having her in our life. That our daughter deserves better, and we need to protect her from this kind of emotional abuse and manipulation. I sent my mother a text saying I needed to go no contact for a while. She tried to guilt me, saying she can't go 5 years without us again. But I didn't respond. She acted weirdly calm and chatty when we dropped off my brother, asked my husband, I stayed in the car, if our daughter was in the car, and said we can take my brother for summer break if we want, and that she would text me the next day to set it up. This is after I had made it clear I didn't want to hear from her. But she was acting like nothing happened. My husband didn't say anything to her. My wonderful brother was quick to correct her and say he would get in touch with me. Anywho, I blocked her on Facebook. She sent me an angry text about it and wanting to see our daughter. My husband and I are discussing changing either the date or location for our daughter's first birthday out of fear she'll show up and cause a scene. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. How long until your brother turns 18? Hopefully not long, because after that, her fallout is entirely no longer your problem. Ops response: a little over 4 years. He is incredibly level-headed and has options, luckily. I spoke to him, so he knows how to get in touch if he needs to. Commenter 2. Any way you can get custody of your brother? Despite it only being 4 years, I think this level of madness she displays warrants this change for your brother's sake. She has a paper trail of lying behavior. Why the hell didn't the hospital check with outside members to validate her claims that no one was there for brother and dad wasn't around? I rarely think children should outright be removed. Your brother needs it before his level-headed self changes. Ops response: I've already taken custody of my sisters, raised them from when they were his age to the present day. We set aside our plans for almost a decade, and we just finally started our life for ourselves and had our baby. He has a dad he can go to if it gets bad. We've set up a system so he can reach us if he needs us. And my sisters are adults now too, so even if I go no contact, he's not alone. Commenter 3. Yeah, you have to be a special kind of slimebag to lie about cancer and suicide, on multiple occasions, to bilk your own offspring out of money. Good on you for going no contact. I would also invest in some Ring cameras, and file a restraining order if I was in your shoes. Ops response: anything to keep a hold on us. I lost 2 friends to suicide, and the closest person to me to cancer. It's pretty horrible. But it's taken going to therapy to realize just how messed up parts of my childhood are. When it's all you know, you normalize it and move on. Ride the wave of her mental illness. But I've realized I no longer have to. 4th update 2 weeks later. My mother is crying to everyone about me not letting her see our daughter. I cut contact with my mother a short while ago, this time for good, although she wasn't informed of the permanent status per my therapist's suggestions. Yesterday, I got a phone call from one of my aunts asking me if it's true that I blocked my mother on all platforms. She proceeded to tell me how my mother is having such a hard time and she's distraught. Telling me she understands if I don't want to deal with my mom but that I should let her have some contact with our daughter, even if it's just once a month for 10 minutes. To give her one last chance for the sake of my child. I told her I'm doing this for my child, who doesn't deserve that kind of grandma. She kept insisting that she would talk to her sister and make sure she followed my rules and boundaries. I tried to explain to her that it doesn't matter who talks to her and that she had already had many chances. This was her own doing. In the end, I didn't give in and was very firm. However, I was so upset after the call. I shouldn't have to defend myself. This was our decision. I hate that they don't ask my side of things, they just argue for her because she's my mother, and somehow that grants her the right to stomp all over us? I expected her to victimize herself and make me the villain. But using my extended family as spokesman is a low blow. I don't have the energy to have this conversation again with other aunts and uncles. I'm debating making a post on Facebook for them to see so they don't even bother, and also to warn about sharing pictures of our daughter with my mother, but I also don't want to indulge in the drama. Should I just wait to see who comes out in my mother's defense? Make a point to refuse to discuss with them and keep them in mind to share less info with them in the future, knowing they're on her side? I don't know. I feel like I'm overthinking things. I'm just overwhelmed with everything. /relevant comments. Commenter. Based on my experience, anything you tell any of your family, they will immediately relay to your mother. Any pictures they have, they will immediately give her. Every time they talk to you, their main priority will be to pressure you into groveling your way back into your mother's good graces. Their second priority will be to pry personal info from you to repeat to her. I tried to have a separate relationship with mine, but they were adamant and stubborn minions. I had to go no contact with them all, too. I vaguely heard through obscure channels, many years later, that once most of them were no longer useful to her as spies, she turned on them and started treating them the way she treated me. They were outraged and broke off contact with her, but naturally did not have the decency or grace to apologize to me for their shoddy behavior to me on her behalf. 5th update 1 month later. My mother keeps pushing boundaries despite no contact agreement. This is sort of an update and sharing how proud I am of my husband and brother. We decided to go no contact a little while ago, read past post for context. Luckily, we've still gotten to see my brother, which makes me happy. But how he handles things makes me so proud of him. While staying with us, he's been so thoughtful. Will only pick up my mom's calls after going to his room, which I've never asked him to do but I appreciate immensely. She FaceTimed him and tried to ask him to see our daughter. He left the phone in the room and came to ask us. Took our no nonchalantly and we heard nothing more. I'm sure she was furious, but he didn't let it affect him. I overheard her trying to bait him into her self-pity. Your dad is going to pick you up. Brother, okay. Her, yeah, I'd rather not drive there if I don't have to. Brother, no problem. Her, because it makes me sad to go there. Brother, okay. Her, because I can't see the baby and it makes me want to cry. Brother, okay, what time is Dad picking me up? He wasn't rude or anything. I'm trying so hard not to put him in the middle of this mess, and I hate that she's trying to use him, but he's shown an emotional maturity that I just didn't have at his age. Today, we picked him up again and she came outside. She knows she's not supposed to, but she kept trying to talk to my husband and asked him to see our daughter. Asked why when he said no, and he reminded her that we're on break. She kept insisting, trying to negotiate how to see her, saying she would stay on the steps and we could roll down the window because she just wants to see her. My husband just said no, full stop, and ignored her. She stormed back inside. I don't understand how she thinks pushing boundaries is going to help her get what she wants when that's the very reason she's in this mess. But oh well. This has been a lot smoother than I expected so far. I keep waiting for the storm, but so far, at least, I know I have support and don't have to face it alone. And my brother, which is the only thing she can hold against me, has no intention of letting her get in the way. I absolutely love him. I'm so proud of him. /relevant comments. Commenter. Yeah, Lil Bro is from a different generation than us. Trust me. He'd call the police on her himself. Things we never saw as an option. That's how the police and FIB got so many people from the January 6th riots. Kids turned them in, went on social media to out them, gave interviews on CNN. These kids built differently than us. Make sure his dad puts him in counseling so he can cope, but I'm sure you can lean on him a bit more. You don't have to put him in the middle, but the occasional thanks for understanding and being a good uncle and brother every now and then. Ops response. You're not wrong. These kids are a whole different breed. I have talked to him and asked him how he felt about the situation, and told him he can always talk to me about anything. I'm super proud of him, and he knows it. 6th update 2 days later. My mother is trying to show up to our daughter's birthday party. I'm not sure what to do. Read previous posts for context, but short story is we've gone no contact with my mother. Unfortunately, she already knew the date of the party. We decided to keep it and hoped she wouldn't show, had decided that if she did, we would kick her out and we already have people ready to do that. However, my sister just informed me that my mother is asking about the party and our daughter, even trying to get her hands on the invite. She's also trying to take that day off work, leading me to believe she's intending on showing up. Should I send a preemptive text and make it clear she is not invited and will be removed if she shows? Just remind her that we're no contact and she is not invited? Or wait and see, and proceed with plan B in case she shows, which is having her removed from the party if she shows. I'm honestly not stressing about it, I just don't know what I should do and figured advice would help. 7th update 1 week later. I wasn't sure how to update on this, but I thought I should let y'all know for anyone who was curious. My mother didn't show to our daughter's birthday, thank goodness. It was pretty quiet and a wonderful party all around with no major hiccups. The dog did eat her party dress the night before and we forgot to pick up the cake. Not sure how we forgot, but we did. I only noticed when it was time for cake. Luckily, I was able to fix the dress and you couldn't tell the whole front had been missing. I did stay up late to fix it, but the dog didn't get sick from it, so not too upset. The bakery was 5 minutes away and we got the cake about halfway through, but no one noticed. My wonderful mother-in-law snuck away to get it with my sister. My brother was also able to attend, which made me very happy, and the kids had so much fun. I've gotten a lot of criticism from some relatives for not inviting my mother, but I've refused to engage. /relevant comments. Commenter. Awesome. The dog eating the dress will be a funny story down the line. Ops response. I was upset when I found it, mostly because this dog is never unsupervised, yet got a hold of it. After the initial dread, I got right to work and ended up being so proud that you couldn't tell. And very lucky she didn't get sick, they behaved so well during the party too, so proud of them for that. I'm usually a very good dog mom and train them, but this one came to us mistreated and with tons of issues, so we're not too pressed about her manners, just glad she can function within normal perimeters. And also gotten lazy with discipline after so many years. My old dog was meant to be the last, and somehow I ended up with 2 more because circumstances made them unadoptable. I have to admit she does create a lot of situations that are funny once they're over with. She's a dork, and we love her and her antics. 8th update 1 month later. My mother is telling everyone I went no contact over her saying my baby. Not the fact that she's manipulative, abusive, and constantly lying and pushing boundaries, no, but because she occasionally calls our daughter her baby or her princess. This is what she's telling people. Never mind the fact that she shares pictures of our daughter with strangers, uses her like a prop, and deliberately ignores everything we tell her. No, that has nothing to do with any of it. I'm so mad that she's saying this to people, mostly because I'm sure she believes it to be true. At first, I was shocked they would even entertain the absurdity, but then remembered how she spent years trashing my image and had everyone believing I was an irresponsible rebel teen and even worse adult. So yeah, I can see how it fits into her narrative. I'm so angry I almost want to text her outlining the many reasons why she's not in our lives, but I know it would be pointless. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I find that people turn on people like her eventually. They don't believe the lies forever. She can live in her misery, while you live in peace. Op's response. It's been over 30 years and they still believe her lies. A couple years ago, I had to explain to my aunt that I never ran away when I was 13, and my mother had made it up. I was at a sleepover she had agreed to, and helped me pack for. To another commenter. My family is overseas, so they only hear what she says, because like you, I refuse to call them just to talk badly of her. About 10 years ago, my now husband and I ended up with both my sisters under our care. They were barely teens. My mother took it upon herself to tell everyone how I had stolen them, and how my husband was this awful, manipulative human being bent on taking everything from her, her daughters and her reason for living. It wasn't until a few years ago my aunt came to visit and stayed with us, because my mother barely has room for herself and my brother. After seeing how we lived, she confided in me that she never understood how I was able to take my sisters, and that now she knows I didn't. I told her if she had questions, why didn't she call and check on us instead of believing my mother's poorly thought lies? It had never occurred to her to treat me as an adult. 9th update 10 months later. It's been almost a year since we went no contact with my mother. I haven't bothered to interact with her flying monkeys, but she's tried different stunts to get our attention, including cutting off my sisters since she can't ask them anything, and it's just too hard for her to walk on eggshells. That was a memorable text thread. Since then, one of my sisters has started to talk to her, out of necessity at first, but now she's definitely enjoying being the golden child. I've been low contact with her since, because she's always stirring the pot, despite repeatedly being told I don't want to hear what my mother is up to or what she says about me. Recently, we were texting, and she decided to share our mother's new theories for me going no contact. It's not my doing, it's my husband's influence and decisions. My husband is literally the kindest man I know. He's not the controlling type, and she's always bragged that she picked him for me because he's perfect. She didn't, and suddenly he's the villain? She doesn't fit my aesthetic of what a grandma should be, aka, she's not thin and rich. She's the one with body image issues, part of the reason she's so toxic, but minor in the scale of things. I'm frugal and prefer secondhand everything. I'm not materialistic at all. I think she believes my mother-in-law to be rich, something she's not, and is comparing herself to her in all the ways that are unimportant. My favorite, this was always the plan. I let her get close to my baby so she'd fall in love, and I could take her away to punish her because I'm some kind of evil, manipulative, horrible human being. I'm not sure if I should be hurt or laugh. But my own mother has no idea who I am. In her eyes, I'm this ever-changing person that goes from best to vile depending on her mood. The worst part for me is she's destroying her life again and dragging my brother with her. She's purposely lost her job, and because she cut off my sister and I'm no contact, her financial safety net is gone. She's been calling relatives with her plight, trying to use my brother for pity, saying they have no food. And when asked about me helping, since I always have, she told them I cut her out and want nothing to do with her or my brother, despite the fact that she's the one who's forbade him from seeing or speaking to us to punish me. Editor's note. Op's last post was made in 2023, and she has not made any new updates since. Her brother would be around 16 or 17 now, since he was 14 at the time, so still under his mother's care. Hopefully, Op was still able to maintain a connection with him while still going no contact with her mother.